Hi there, Vibe Gardeners. In this edition of Vibe Gardening Informed Edition, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to propagate this rosemary here from, well, sitting here through water. I'm going to be able to pot it up. It's the end of the season. This zone is a little too cold for them, so I think these guys will actually not make the winter. And, well, it's time to make sure that they continue their genetics through propagation. So with that said, here we go. So these rosemaries here, these are essentially I bought them this spring from Jacob's Fresh Farm. So these are, I believe, their zone is higher in requirement to survive the winter than what we have here in Southeast Michigan with Zone 6A. And especially being on the edge of this raised bed here, it's going to be exposed to some cold from the on the root from our harsh winter. I really don't think these guys have what it takes to survive that, especially when it's right here on the edge, getting exposed to two sides from the cold weather. So what I'm going to do is something that I did last year with some rosemary from them from actually their farm stand, is that I'm going to cut these guys off on the branch and then be able to start propagating them in water to develop roots and then be able to plant them into their type of soil. So this video is going to be about a 3 to 6 week process of being able to develop the roots before I can plant them into soil. So here we are. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to cut this off and then how I'm going to go through the process of letting them develop roots before I repot them into soil. There we go. So here we see that these guys are approximately, I don't know, they're probably a good 10 inches or so long. Before you propagate them, you want to make sure they're at least about 6 inches long. And one of the main things that you want to do is you want to make sure it's starting to get a little woody, but not fully woody, because I've actually propagated woody rosemary before. You want to be able to cut them right below the node of the leaf. So actually, I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm going to try to propagate multiple segments from the same branch, which will be interesting. So I'm going to cut it right here. Not damage any of the other leaves. So as you can see here, I cut it right under where the leaves are starting to grow. This is what's called the leaf node. And so that's where it's going to be able to develop the rooting hormones. So what I plan to do is break this into actually two separate nodes. Another thing I noticed is that this rosemary here, it is not flowering yet. That is huge. Because when it's starting to flower, it's basically preparing for basically stopping to grow and stuff. So you want to get it before then. And especially here, you can see the tip is still green. This is key, but just showing that it's still growing. And that's important for you to be able to propagate these. So now that we're in this house now, so I got I actually collected two twigs here, and both have the same characteristics. As you can see, I got the woody base and then the green top. So right here, I got a bunch of propagation tools here. One of them, which obviously I have turned into a flower vase for marigold. It's quite pretty, but it's a little big for what we're doing here. And then we got this kind right here. This is a cute little stand. Again, it's more for that decorative, and it's more for other types of propagation. But as you can see here, rosemary is a long stem. It's very linear, and it's vertical. It's not good for this type of propagation station because not only is it shorter, it's also got a wider base, so it's more likely to flap. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use one of these. I'm going to link this on the bottom, propagation station with, actually, unfortunately, this is out of production now. So I'll link something that's similar to this. It's got a taller base, very thin opening. So therefore, for something long like this was not going to flap back and forth. So that's what makes it ideal. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take this and we're going to measure about 6 inches, which is approximately the length of my hand. So something down to about here. Actually, this is not even that long. Actually, it's more for the height of the plant. So we're going to basically cut this in half because it's not quite 12 inches, it's about 10. So we're going to cut it again at the node here. You see how the leaf comes here? And then basically, I'm going to cut it right here to be able to replicate what I did earlier. So now that I cut it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the leaves from the bottom, so that way it's going to be able to get into the water without having the leaf in the water. Because if you do that, it's going to potentially rot and create problems. So I'm going to basically take off this set of leaves and this set, so that way the water can come up to about here. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm going to actually use this for cooking later on. The rosemary are actually delicious for cooking. And it's great for making, especially red meat. And you can also put it in eggs and other stuff to give it a little bit of that sweet flavor. So you can see I kind of took off the bottom here. This makes it ideal for propagation. Take one of these tubes, and we pop it in here. It's going to have a little bit of a space at the bottom. Actually, usually I would put it in like this, and then I would fill the water to right about here to let it reach down. And it's going to take about 3 to 6 weeks for these guys to be have full good leaves. And actually, I've done as little as about 1 to 2 weeks. As long as you see there is some root coming out of the tip, you can actually just take this and plant them right in soil that they like. And there you have it. The two branches have been able to cut in half, get these leaves pulled off. You can go and make steak seasoning with this later. And all of these guys are now in their little propagation station now, upright. Only the branches in the water, and the rest, the leaves are not touching for rotting. And these guys will be ready in any time between 3 and 6 weeks if you want to get enough roots. And we shall see how they develop as time goes. So we shall check back in about that amount of time when they're ready. And this is how you propagate rosemary. And the cool thing is you can even do the same thing with rosemary you get from the supermarket. But obviously it's from my garden, so I want to continue it.